Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. It's Leanne Peters here. I'm sitting in the gum tree with the bees. The bees are loud here behind me. Oh, I love this beam of sunlight here. And the cat's here. Come and say hello. Ah, here's our cat. She's purring away, sitting here in the shade. So I'm in the cave of the tree here, the trees. It's beautiful weather. Um, so my name's Leanne Peters and I'm from templeofbalance.com.au, Temple of Balance on Facebook and Temple of Balance on YouTube. So it's my great honour and privilege to be here sharing with you in these moments. It's a really powerful time. So it's 10 a.m. here on Friday the 27th of December and coming to you live from Tasmania, Australia. So I've been up since before 7, so the last 3 hours or so have been really intense. So there's been a really intense preparation for moving into this event. Lots of stuff that's been shifting around the throat chakra for the last few days. So I've got a feeling we're going to touch on some stuff during this connection today. There's also a lot of purging, a lot of clearing that's coming through as well. So I really don't want to, hi Gayle, I really don't want to plan what we're going to do too much. I want to just let it flow. I'm sitting here actually feeling really vulnerable today. I'm not feeling particularly confident in my throat. I've got some stuff shifting, not in my physical throat, but hi Susie, energetically in my throat. There's stuff that I'm dealing with around my voice, around the words that I use and the way that I express myself and my truth. And I feel personally that there's this big realignment happening, which kind of makes sense because there's been such a big shift, and especially this whole year, 2019 has been a huge shifting year, and so it sort of feels to me like my voice now and my throat is getting into alignment with the shifts that I've been going through personally, and a lot of us have been for this year. So it's now about aligning with the power of our voice. So I am sitting here quite vulnerable. I have stuff coming up around this, so but it's not going to stop me from being here, that's for sure. Let's straighten this camera up. So it's not going to stop me being here, but I just want to let you know I am feeling quite vulnerable, especially in regards to speaking today. So we'll just see how we flow. Now, this is our healing event, for our healing list event for some of my Temple of Balance patrons. So those of you who pledge at the $15 level or higher for December, for this month, you're on my healing list. I have 39 people on my healing list. So I have you here on a piece of paper, and I've done a little something with you on this piece of paper, with you all. Something that I usually do for myself. Personally, in my journal, sometimes I go through these I guess it's the throat chakra again, which is probably the big thing that I've personally been healing and working on. Oh, thank you so much, David. That makes me feel emotional. So when I'm working through, and I've been dealing with throat stuff and truth stuff and speaking up my whole life, it's probably something that I've really seen as a big weakness of mine that I've taken a lot of steps to strengthen to get to this point where I am today. So at times when I feel like I'm exploring my throat and my words and my voice and things like this, I will often get a whole page in my journal and I'll just write a bunch of random words that really seem to stand out for me at the time. So I write a list of words and then I cover them up and I write a list of another set of words that follow. And so there might be something like mother, and then that aligns with another word that I've written. And I forget where all these things are, so I'm sort of blocking out what I've written, and then I end up looking at the connections with these words, and it can be really revealing. So I've decided to do that with all of you guys today. So I've written a bunch of words next to, so I've got, actually, hopefully it's everybody except for the last person, because I've got an odd number of people, but I'm sure it will work out. I've got the two names next to each other. So I've written one word for the first name and one word for the second name. Hi, Matt. And then we're going to connect the line of people and the words up. So that's what I've done on here, and I haven't looked at it. So I've covered all the names up when I was writing these words down on both sides, and I've just folded it straight up. So I haven't even looked at this yet. So we're going to look at that soon. So we'll see what that reveals. I've also got my cobra drum here. So I will be playing this at some stage, most likely. I've got my smudge stick. I've got a few extra things just in case. So this is going to be more intuitive than normal. Yes, very interesting, Susie. This is, I mean, you know, there's there's different levels of flow and intuition that I move into. I have sometimes some general basic guideline planning. Sometimes I plan a lot of what I'm doing. And for some people that might seem and be quite intuitive, but for me, I'm just fully surrendering now. I just have these few tools here and this list of names with your words. That's all I know that we're going to do for now. So actually I'm going to start with that and we'll see where it flows. So I trust you're following along and I'm making some sense, which is part of what my bit of a concern is, being here, being in a bit of an unconfident space in my throat at the moment. Makes me feel a little bit conscious, I guess, that what I'm saying is comprehensible. So I do apologise in advance if it isn't. So I've got everyone's list of names here, and I'm going to read the word for the person that's first on the list and then the word for the person that's second on the list, and then we'll join those two names for both people, those two words. So your word may be, there may be something personal for you to maybe consider, reflect upon, explore with that word. I would be, actually I haven't got my name on the list. Maybe I could put my name at the end with a word. Let's do that now. And that way we haven't got an odd number. And then I can also explore my list, my word too. So with the words that come up, I'd be looking at the definition. I'd be looking at it from all different facets and angles. Look at how it feels to me. How does it relate to what I'm going through or what I'm dealing with in my life right now? I'd use that word and really look deeply at it if that's something you want to do. Some of these words are very just simple and very basic. So it's those simple and basic ones too that can be quite revealing. So let's see. So nice big breath. And if you're not one of the two people that I'm sort of linking up here, maybe just open up your heart and see which words really stand out for you. And we can go from there. So first of all, I've got Carol White, and Carol White, your word is path, and next to you is Adriana Kuliskova. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly, Adriana, and your word is turn. So I find that very interesting. We've got for Carol and Adriana, path turn. Path turn. To me, I'm thinking new direction, a turn, a movement, a bit of a change in the path. Maybe something to consider. Next is Jodi Kerry, and your word is open. And Susan Macmillan, your word is express. So we've got open, express. So we can think of this from all different angles, but the first thing that comes to mind to me is open expression. So expressing yourselves, ourselves, openly, honestly. So open, express. And I guess we could look at express too. Another angle to look at that for you, Susan, might be, and Jodi, would be express, so moving quickly. So, you know, like an express train. So it might not necessarily be expression, it could be moving fast. So see how that resonates. Next is David Magness. Hi, David. I know you're watching. Your word is honest. And actually interesting, next to you is Kimberly Veness. And Kimberly Veness, your word is blue. So we've got honest and blue, which both connect in with the throat chakra. So honest, truth, integrity, that maybe that vulnerability in being honest. There is a vulnerability, a tenderness, a delicateness with that. And blue, so the color blue usually connects in with the throat chakra, but you might think of like this, we've got this vast blue sky right here. So there could be something else connected with blue that might be worth looking at. So honest, blue. Anne Marie Douglas, I don't know if you're watching, your word is walk. So there's an element of movement and action with this. Walk implies that you're moving, you're taking action. And Zeina Baksmaty, who's next to Anne Marie, your word is deep. So we have walk deep. So walk deeply, walking deeply, moving in our life with depth could be another way of looking at that. Matthew, I know you're here. Interesting. Matthew Keith, your word is simply bee. And it's interesting, I've got bee, there's bees in this tree everywhere. There's one just flew over the top there then. Bee. And you're next to Fiona Coughlin. Thank you. You're next to Fiona Coughlin. And Fiona, your word is dolphins. So combining these two words for you, Matt and Fiona, is bee dolphins. So I wonder what dolphins represent. And it's not just dolphin, it's dolphins. So I'm thinking of a group of togetherness, of working together, cooperating, and maybe there's something really important or personal that you connect with the dolphins. So the words together are bee dolphins. Interesting. Chelsea Keith, you're next. Chelsea, your word is heart. Heart. There's something very full and whole in its feeling at the moment when I say the word heart. It feels complete somehow, like a fullness here in the heart. And you're next to Sarah Jones, and Sarah, your word is power. So together these say heart, power. So Chelsea and Sarah especially, this is bringing it back into your heart power. The power and the fullness, the completeness, if you like. The, that beautiful full sense of heart power. Next is KantiDevi Wedad. So KantiDevi, your word is arrive. Oh, there goes a bird just flew up over the fence. Arrive. So to me that feels like you've reached the place. There's a feeling of arrival, like you've just arrived somewhere. So arrive. And you're next to Ann Osias. Ann, your word is surge. So your two words together are arrive and surge. So there's sort of a feeling here of reaching a point, reaching a space of arrival, and in that point, in that arriving, there's a feeling of surge with that. So it's like turning the power on. So it's like arriving at that power point and turning the power on, and that surge of energy coming through. So there's a powerful surge of energy when you arrive and let yourself arrive. Interesting. Next is Gayle McCoy, and I know that you're watching, Gayle, and your word is adapt. So adapt. Adapting to change maybe, adapting to new things in your life, adapting to endings or things that have come to an end, doors that have closed. Maybe being a little bit more adaptable in your own personality perhaps is required, or maybe worth looking at. And you're next to Sandi Greenham. And Sandi, your word is unique. So being individual, owning your uniqueness, owning, I guess, those differences and those things that make you who you are. So for Gayle and Sandi, your words combined are adapt and unique. So there's a feeling here of adapting to your uniqueness. you know, oh, the cat's on the move. So adapting to your uniqueness and really letting your uniqueness shine through. Yeah, interesting. Okay, next is Christopher Regan. Christopher, your word is widen. So there's a sense here of width, of widening, and not in the physical sense. This feels very energetic. And when I think of widening, I feel like a stretching out on the horizontal. So I feel like a stretching out, a getting more, participating more in our life that we see on that flat sort of surface of the earth. So widen, but it could be widen in any on any level. And you're next to Avril Daly, and Avril, your word is accept. Accept. So accepting who you are, accepting things about your life perhaps that you've been struggling to come to terms with. And these two words together are widen and accept. There's a feeling here we could also maybe use another word, which is sometimes what I do with these sort of word plays, is see what other words I can use to mean the same sort of thing. And to me, this widen word feels a bit like broaden. So broaden, sort of this stretch, this broadening feeling. And maybe broadening or stretching out your viewpoint about what you are accepting, or also maybe what you're not accepting at this time. Next is Leslie Laagel, and Leslie, your word is inside. So inside, and there's a feeling of moving inside, inward, like moving into a house, moving into a room, moving into the body. And you're next to Angie Griswold, and Angie's word is become. Become, which sort of feels like an extension of your word, Matt, of be. So become. What are you becoming? Become. Allow yourself to become. There's sort of a potential there. You know, what is your potential? What are you becoming? There's a possibility, almost a blankness, but also unlimited opportunities or potentials in what you can become. So Leslie and Angie, your two words together are inside become. So become what you are, maybe from the inside, or maybe think about that from another angle if you want to. Next is Rebecca Ross. Rebecca, your word is light. It's light. So you might think of this as being lightweight. So your weight being lighter energetically. You might think of this as your light. So growing or glowing in your actual light. It goes with the word that is with Pamela Florea. So Pamela Florea, you're with Rebecca Ross, and your word is push. Push. And the visual I'm getting with that is like, you know, in a restaurant, how they have the doors that the waiters usually use that go from the restaurant and then into the kitchen. And there's this vision I have of you, Pamela, pushing with both hands on this door that just swings open, but pushing. So there's a feeling here of sort of asserting yourself or taking action, being proactive. So there is an action with this push. So it matches with Rebecca's light. So we've got light push or lightly push. So maybe it doesn't need to be forceful. If you've been feeling a bit like things are a bit forceful in your push lately, maybe it could be a lighter push. But I feel both hands are going in and pushing. So Rebecca and Pamela, that hopefully will resonate with you or something to explore. So next is Allison. So Allison, your word is options. Options. And I see paperwork down on the table, turned over, so face down, and I see these options in front of you. But especially how I'm seeing it now is paperwork. So there's like 6 or 8 sheets of paper face down on a table in front of you, showing that there are options, but they're not being revealed. So they're face down and not really showing themselves at this point. And you're next to Marguerite Pepper Brady, and your word is balance. So balance is pretty self-explanatory, but we might think of other words like harmony, being in good flow, being in alignment, being connected, as being balanced. I'm also seeing the scales, so like an old set of scales, and they're a balance with those scales. So balancing things up. So Allison and Marguerite, your words together are options and balance. So it may also suggest looking at that there are options that you have to help you find your balance. So maybe something to think about. Next is Bronwyn Usher. So Bronwyn, your word is create. Create. So I feel working with your hands, working with something and creating something for yourself. And next to you is Jane Larson. And Jane, your word is rocking. So rocking, and there feels to be a rhythm with this rocking, with this movement. So it's a movement, but it's a sort of a rhythm, a rocking back and forward. So Bronwyn and Jane, your words together are create rocking. Create a momentum is sort of a feeling here too. Create a rhythm, create a momentum for yourselves in your life. So it feels like, I see this child on a really old rocking horse and rocking away into that rhythm. So creating that rhythm, maybe that rocking for yourself in your life. Interesting. Next is Charley Ross, and Charley, your word is listen. So listen, being attentive, observing. And you're next to Martha Samuels. And Martha, your word is humble. Humble. So there's an innocence about that word to me at the moment. So together these words are listen and humble. Listen to the humbleness that maybe you're expressing or you're noticing or observing in your own life. Listen to those humble words. Pay attention, we could say too, to the humbleness that you are and also that's being demonstrated around you. That may be important for you guys, Charley and Martha. So next is Angela James. Angela, your word is willing. Willing. So there's a feeling here of putting yourself out there, of putting your hand up for something and being willing to have a go. That's what I'm seeing with that word. And you're next to Nicole Wiggins. Nicole Wiggins, your word is resolve. So resolving issues perhaps, or resolving things that are a bit dangling or a little bit at a loose end perhaps, that feel unresolved. So your words together, Angela and Nicole, are willing, resolve. Be willing to resolve things perhaps. Okay, next we've got just five more here, down 5 more pairs. Next is Janice Chalmers, and Janice, your word is reach. And I feel you reaching and stretching and like picking an apple, the furthest apple from the tree. Maybe all the apples have been picked, so you've spotted a really nice ripe apple, a really beautiful red juicy looking apple, and you're really reaching up to pluck this from the tree. That's how I'm seeing this. And you're next to Tammy Dunn, and Tammy, your word is golden. So maybe this is a golden apple. And your words, so golden, let's just look at that for a moment. I think of golden as maybe the sun, a solar energy, so a personal power, a confidence, a courage that's growing. And when we look at these two words together for you both, it says reach golden. So reach for the golden apple perhaps, reach for the gold. We might even think of golden as abundance. We might see it as symbolizing abundance and maybe coins or gold in a sort of material sense, in regards to receiving what you need in your life and abundantly. So reach for the golden, reach for the gold perhaps. Next is Kathleen Glen. Kathleen, your word today is feel. Feel. So there's an inner feeling with this, as an inward sense when I say the word feel, and it feels very personal. So it feels quite personal and private, this feel energy that's coming in. It's almost like a blanket of feeling that's just kind of calming you down is sort of the feeling here. And you're next to Andrea Stewart. Andrea Stewart, your word is flower. Flower. So there's a feeling here of blossoming, of growing, of opening up. And your two words together, Kathleen and Andrea, are feel, flower. So feel your opening, feel your blossoming, feel the delicacy, the sweetness of life. Stop and feel or smell the roses, if you like, that sort of thing. So it's very interesting. Next is Elle Du Bois. So Elle, your word is beauty. Beauty. So this feels, the first impression I get is the beauty here of the face. But then I feel like beauty is deeper than that. So that my first impression was on the surface, and then I feel like there's something underneath the surface, especially within you and especially within this area of your body, that feels very beautiful. So you're being encouraged to tap into the beauty underneath the surface. And you're next to Radzi. And Radzi, your word is persist. Persist. So I get this feeling of not giving up, of continuing, keeping on going, keep pushing through the muddy, sludgy times as best as you can. Stop and rest as you need to, but keep persisting. Don't give up. So these two words together are beauty and persist. Beauty and persist. Persist with the beauty, but persist with looking under the surface for the beauty and maybe the things that are working. Next is Amanda Sanders. Amanda, your word is align. So when I think of align, and actually when I wrote this word, I remember why I wrote it, because I saw an alignment. So like a rod of alignment going up and down through the body, basically in alignment with the spine. So there's an alignment feeling of things sort of coming into alignment within your own body, is the feeling here. And you're next to Kimberly Revel. And Kimberly, your word is radiate. Radiate. So there's a glowing radiance feeling here with this word, like if you were a candle or a sun, and the arms of that you're radiating out is the feeling here. So the two words together are align, radiate. Align with your radiant self, your radiant light, your radiant beauty, perhaps. So align with what you're radiating, what you're sending out, what you're expressing, who you are as you go through, as you radiate just your essence. And then lucky last, who's with me, who's paired up with me, is is Ellen Stenslie. Ellen Stenslie, your word is path. Path. And I see your path like the yellow brick road, and I see this yellow brick road, it's like a mustard yellow, and this path that's moving off in front of you. So this feels very future focused to me. So I'm not seeing the path where you've walked, I'm seeing your path weaving off into the future. I'm seeing it weaving off in front of you. So there's an emphasis here around your path, but how I'm seeing it right now is definitely where you're walking towards. And then to even this out so that we've all paired up, I've written my name down, and the word that goes with my name is heal. Heal, which is what I'm very actively doing all the time, but I'm in an intense focus of that right now. So Ellen and myself, our words together are path, heal. So I get this feeling of walking a healing path, but also letting ourselves move through our healing time, to continue to walk through it, that it doesn't have to be a forever thing that we're constantly doing or constantly battling. So let the path continue to move forward as we heal. So let me know how you find that. I find that really quite interesting, and see how you go with your word and then the word that you're paired up with, and see how that relates to how you're doing at the moment. Let's do some smudging. So I've got my sage smudge stick, and we're going to do some clearing now. So actually, I'll just take a drink of water. Let me know how you're doing, if you want to. Okay, let's do some smudging. Smudging under the tree, in the cave, with the bees. with this beautiful gum tree. Wow, these leaves next to me are really glowing here in this beam of sunshine. And my phone's sitting in the sun. I better make sure it's not too hot. Okay, nice big breath. Let's really think about what we need to release, let go of, purge, surrender. Especially, you know, now. I get this feeling that, you know, we're only days away from the new decade. And I know for me, I think today I'm going to be doing a lot of reflecting on this last decade, reflecting on where I am now and reflecting on where I want myself to step into, which is interesting with the path thing, over this next decade to come. So take a nice big breath and think about letting go of everything that you're holding on too tightly to, that's got no room to heal, that's not working for you at this time, that's creating discord. And we ask this sacred smoke to wash over our body and carry away with it all negative energies, entities, cords, hooks, attacks and attachments. Let's let this go. Let's be willing to surrender everything that's holding us back. Let's be willing to surrender all of who we are not, all of our expectations, our disappointments, the old story, our resistance to change, and everything that we're just connecting with on the surface. Let's see if we can remove those masks and go deeper. Okay, thank you. Just put this out and we'll pick a couple of healing energy cards. Then I'm going to do some drumming. The cat is just staring at me. She's laying in the grass. She loves laying in the grass. She's laying in the cool grass in the shade, just laying back, staring at me like she thinks I'm speaking to her, which is really cute. So I'm going to pull one card from our healing energy cards and then one card from my my new healing energy cards. Healing energy cards number 2. So I'll pull one from each and I'll just keep them face down for now. So healing energy card that we need for now as we move into our drumming time. So let's see what we might do well to think about or focus upon moving into our drumming time. Okay, interesting. I painted this drum in 2010. So our card is here. I'm just going to keep it down there, put something on it so it doesn't blow away. And we'll grab healing energy cards number 2. So what do we need to know for now as we prepare to move into our drumming time? Okay, we'll go with this card here. All right, let's grab these both off together at the same time. We have these. Oh, actually look quite similar, don't they? Just first impressions. So this is interesting. We have Illusion, card 32. So I will read this. It says, repel negative and attached energies. Keep your protection high. Be on the lookout for hidden, secret, or attacking intentions. And listen to this. Replace all illusion with truth. And you know, with all of my truth exploration I've made this morning and over these last few days, that word illusion has not even come into my radar at all. And of course, illusion is the opposite of truth. So replacing all illusion with truth. So this card is a bit confronting. it does highlight a negative energy that's potentially present, or even a way that we're viewing or perceiving things in our life, or how we see ourselves from a way that may be a bit distorted. So illusion is like, for me, in this moment, I imagine ourselves, us as individuals, standing in a room full of distorted mirrors. And these distorted mirrors are, you know, we see them at the showgrounds. There might be a mirror that we can stand in front of, and it might make our head really skinny and our torso really fat. Or we may be all, you know, there's a distortion to these mirrors that I'm talking about. So as we stand in this room of distorted mirrors, this room of illusion, and we see ourselves reflected in these mirrors, we're not seeing how we really are. So, like for me personally, I kind of see myself in this room of distorted mirrors and looking at this mirror that has this really bulging, horrible looking throat, which is how I sort of feel at the moment, or what I'm working through. So there's a reflection, this is reflecting illusion back to me, which is untrue, but something also for me to look into because it's highlighting for a reason. So there's highlighting an issue or a wound or some hurt or something that I've been carrying maybe for a while. So this is replacing illusion with truth. It's about keeping ourselves protected from negativity. The cat's coughing up a fur ball just over there if you hear coughing. Okay, this is from my new deck that I'm making at the moment. Healing Energy Cards number 2. It's card 77, and it says, call for help. Call for help. Now, the first impression I get with that is call. Call. We're using our voice, we're using our words. We're calling, we're announcing, we're shouting perhaps that we need help. So there's a feeling here of, you know, I think with a lot of this throat stuff, we tend to zip our lips and hesitate in saying something because we may not be feeling that confident in our words. So there's a feeling here of we may need help, or we may need to move the energy. We may need to help ourselves, but we may be sort of zipping our lips and shutting back, holding back in fear of these words that we're saying, or the sound of our voice, or what have you. So just that simple word, call, and call for help, feels with that there is an assertiveness, and a sense of authority in our voice, and authority in our words, that we need help, or that we are struggling, or that we're not seeing how things really are right now. We may be in that room of distorted mirrors, and we may be calling for help because we want to see the truth. We want to see the truth behind those distorted mirrors. We want to take off that mask and see who we really are and who we've truly become from that, perhaps that throat sort of perspective. And the other words down here say being open to receiving assistance. Now, when I was making this card, and when I was working out the title and that, which is subject to change because I'm working on improving and refining this deck, I saw this as like the Batman, I don't know what you call it, but the projection that they send out, beam out into the sky to, you know, as like a call or an announcement. I don't know, if I haven't really watched Batman, but from what I remember, I think that the signal was put out so that Batman could see this signal and go to base or wherever he was going to. So what I see with this is it's like a signal, a sign, a announcement, perhaps, if you like, that's been sent out into the universe, or sent out maybe to help, or that we need help. What am I trying to say? So it's sort of like if we were trapped in a room of distorted mirrors, and there was a part of us, our true self, our essence, at base, which might be just on the other side of those distorted mirrors. It may be a base. Let's say the base is in our heart. Let's say the base is in our heart, which is where our true essence is, and we may be feeling a bit trapped in our throat in that room of distorted mirrors. So there's a part of us maybe feeling trapped away, but there's also a part of us that sits always permanently in our heart. And it's that, maybe that heart energy that feels like it's sending out an announcement, a beam, a broadcast through like a symbol or a flash or a feeling, if you like, that's sending out this message, this, I'm not sure of quite the word I'm looking for here. It's sending this out to help waken up our self that's trapped in this room of distorted mirrors. So we're being encouraged and reminded to hear the call, to hear the announcement, to pay attention to this announcement as we wake up and move out of this room of illusion. So I call for help, be open to receiving assistance. So really letting assistance come in. Let's use the drum. Now I only pull this drum out for serious healing time. This is my healing drum. And it's interesting, dated here. I think I did this for my birthday. I got this for my birthday, in 2010. When I turned 34. 34. So 10 years ago. So I'm going to play this drum, and I don't really want to talk. I just want to hold this space. I want to hold this space for you to explore and tap into what it is that you need to tap into, and just hold this space in love with the drum. I'm not going to hold back with my drumming. I really want to use this drum as a way of expressing myself, especially in a way where I can't quite find the words that I might be looking for. So I'd like to be able to express myself through the sound of this drum and its own voice, its own essence. So let the drum touch you in parts of your body where you need it. You can't do anything wrong, so at the very least, just listen. Just listen to the drum. Let it touch you in your body. Let it sit in your heart. Let it awaken this area in your throat if you need that. Let it help awaken you to your truth, the truth of who you are, and realign yourself back with the power of your own voice and the power of your truth. So take a nice big breath, and I'll probably drum for 5 or 10 minutes. So enjoy. Okay. Thank you so much. Wow. So I trust you feel a nice connection with yourself after that drumming. I know I saw that the distorted mirrors were being smashed up. And then the energy moved in this really deep, yeah, beautiful. And then move into this really deep, just this really deep, gentle, quiet, almost silent, really deep, potent energy, which is more of a feeling. You know, I'm such a strong feeler that sometimes just finding the words is not easy. So it's nice to have a way of expressing, like using a drum or even creating or something that is not confined by our vocabulary and our language and the words that we use. So very interesting. So thank you. I'm going to draw some more cards to go. These were our cards we drummed with. Illusion and replacing illusion with truth, and a call for help. A call for help. So let's put these back. We will pull 2 cards, again, one of each to go. So I want to thank you so much for joining me today. Also, a big thank you to my Temple of Balance patrons. Those of you on my healing list today, thank you so much. I look forward to connecting with you again in January if you're inspired to continue to support my work through Patreon. So thank you. We'll be connecting towards the end of January for our next healing list event. So there are 2 patron healing events a month. We have our healing list event like this, which is for $15 a month or more pledges, and the healing event that you may have seen earlier this week, the more personal healing guidance, that is for our $50 patrons or higher. So if you're inspired to connect in this way, then please have a look on my website. Actually, have a look on Patreon. You'll find it there. The link is in the information with this video somewhere, wherever that might be for you. So let's grab a healing energy card to go. If you do want to learn more about me and the work that I do at Temple of Balance, please visit my website at templeofbalance.com.au. Oh, have I stopped? Why? I shouldn't have stopped. It's still going. Well, unless you're talking about the drumming. I don't know. Yeah, so please have a look on my website if you do want to learn more about the work I do here. So I'm going to pull that card. I'm not grabbing it yet. And we'll grab a new card too, because these are fun to play with, even though I'm still getting to know them myself. So our best card for our forward movement from here. Oh, you like the drum, David. It was a nice drum, wasn't it? Okay, the best healing energy card too for our forward movement from here is this. So let's grab both cards together, and it's these. Ah, yes, look. So we have stillness and we have new beginnings. So let's look at stillness first. So my intention with these particular cards, as we're winding this up now, is to look at, okay, what's next? What do we need to know now about moving forward into the next phase of our life? This might be when we press stop, or I press stop, and we go about our everyday life. What do we need to know about integrating and bringing what we've connected with during this time together? The cats come over too. What do we need to bring from what we've connected with into our life so it can really mean something? So this is really important, and it's card 26, stillness, which is what I've just been talking about. And I feel just with the drumming and that really slow, quiet drumming, even though I was drumming and making noise, it felt like really connecting in with the silence and the still, the silence, the void that's dead, not deadly, that's, have you ever been in a place that is so quiet, it's deafening? It's so loud. I remember years and years ago when I lived in Queensland, so probably 18 years ago or something now, my friend and I went to White Eagle Lodge, and we went on a Sunday service or something. I forget now, it was a long, long time ago. And we were out eating with the group of people that came to the service. And the lady that runs the place, or who was there in charge at the time on that day, she invited a lady who happened to be standing right next to my friend and I into this sacred room. And because we were sort of just chit-chatting, we got invited as well. So my friend and I and this lady who we didn't know and this other lady that brought us there took us into this sacred room. And it was incredible. It was this, it must be where they do really intense meditation or have conversations or something. It was this sunken down room. And so you walk, it's sort of like you walk into this room and there's this sunken down area where you sit in a circle. There's a table in the middle, and above the table a skylight with a symbol, I can't remember, a stained glass symbol of some sort, a lotus or an om or something, right above the centre of this table. So we sat down, there was just the few of us, sat down in this room and just took some quiet breaths. You couldn't really talk in there. It just didn't feel, it felt very sacred. And we just connected in our own personal way. And I remember it being so quiet that it was so loud. It was like a jet plane just flying low right overhead. It was so loud, that silence. So there's something really, there is so much potential in the silence and the still moments that we can find. And, you know, maybe it's not about right now, maybe it's not about the words or our voice and maybe dealing with our issues as they come up, but maybe it's okay to just be in a silent, still, quiet place while we realign and readjust ourselves, but also why we connect in with the potential, that loudness within that silence. You know, it's like that space in between our breathing, in between our breaths, where we've finished breathing out and the breath hasn't quite turned to breathing in. And we've got that little moment, that silent moment, where we're neither breathing in nor breathing out. And we can capture that moment. It might just be for a few seconds, but we can capture that moment. And there's so much, I can't quite find the right words to describe, but there's so much within that, just that simple moment of silence and that simple moment of being in between breaths. It's like with the drum, that silent moment in between the beats of the drum, or in between the beats of our heart. Something really sacred about the potential in the silence and the potential in the quiet. And this is very much what this card's about. It's about that still energy, that quiet, that peaceful energy. It says self-healing, inner peace, silence, and meditation may be helpful right now. It says self-discipline and self-control, prayer, the Om Mani Padme Hum mantra. It says the throat chakra, and it says observation and truth. So we've moved out of illusion, from that illusion card that we had, and into the truth. And the truth right now for some of us is about capturing that silence. It might be in between our breaths. It might be capturing that in between a heartbeat. It may be not holding back in fear of what we have to say because we're scared about what words are going to come out, if they're going to hurt someone or not. It's not being quiet for that reason. It's about, I guess, owning our power and accepting our need to be in a quiet space. So stillness with this card, New Beginnings. New Beginnings, card 75. It says, find the courage to walk forward. So when I drew this picture, I imagined the back here of this figure, all the old stuff, just like fumes, like smoke, like smouldering ashes or smouldering whatever, just moving away and lifting away from the back of our bodies as we let the past go. And as we let the past go, it lightens up our front here, brings potential, new beginnings, new possibilities, and a lighter energy. See how it feels lighter here? So as we let the baggage go and the weight go, it gives us, we move into a space of lightness as we move forward into new beginnings. And she's got her arm over her new beginnings. She's nurturing and nourishing herself as she steps forward. Whether you're male or female, doesn't matter. This represents new beginnings for us all, a new potential. Finding the courage to walk forward. The key here is letting the past go, or letting our issues and wounds go that we're dealing with at present, so that we can lighten things up. We could also look at this as illusion, letting the illusion go, so we can lighten up and move into the truth, the new beginnings. So very interesting. So both of those together, stillness, silence, letting go, and moving into new beginnings. So that's what we're encouraged to maybe think about as we prepare to move back into our everyday life now. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a beautiful experience and a real honour for me to be sharing with you. Thank you so much for your patience and your participation, your support. And let me know how you go. Let me know how you feel if you want to. I will be back on Tuesday, New Year's Eve, for our healing marathon, 12-hour healing marathon event, and is likely things are shifting ready for that too. So it is an exchanged event. It's private, so there is an exchange. If it's something you want to be a part of, please have a look on my website at templeofbalance.com.au. I'm very safe here, thank you. Thanks, David. And yeah, if you want to connect deeply, it will come via videos in high definition, not this quality. And there'll be lots of videos that day as we explore and move through stuff quite deeply. So I might see you then. If not, have a happy happy healing for the rest of your decade, your old decade, as we prepare to move into the new year, the new decade ahead. So thank you so much. Sending you lots of love from my heart to yours. Thank you so much for being who you are. Namaste. Bye.